Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Big Talk with Chris and Greg. This is Chris.
This is Greg.
And, glad everybody's coming back.
Yes.
We had last episode, part one of our music censorship.
Rant, rave.
Kind of thing. We need more time to rant and rave and complain. Let's get business out of the way. BigTalkCG.podcast is the handle at Instagram.
Right.
Big Talk CG on Twitter. BigTalkCG@gmail.com. Send us some emails. Give us some comments, follows, likes. It's only the two of us this week because the 12-year-old didn't have any emails to read. No one sent an email.
That's
John
not good.
did not come through. The nation did not come through for her.
All right.
She's on administrative leave right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's collecting unemployment. I pay her in Snickers
Oh,
or whatever. What did she say? She liked Crunch.
Mars bar. Oh,
Crunch and I forget what the other candy she said she liked on the Halloween episode.
yeah, I forgot what it was. Oops. Oh, Skittles.
Skittles. That's
Skittles.
right, Skittles. 10-year-old was all about the candy corn.
Yeah, that's it.
I love candy corn.
Right? That's good stuff.
Go for some right now. Anyways, I digress. Let's go. I got a surprise for you, Greg.
I'm ready.
I almost forgot, and I'm glad that I didn't. So I know that the last couple episodes we've been talking about, us branching out, other countries listening to us. So far, who do we have? U.S. We're up to like 10, 11 plus states in the United States that have listened to us, including the District of Columbia.
Oh, right.
Okay.
No, I didn't know that one. I didn't see that one yet.
And then we also have France.
France.
We have UK.
Argentina.
And Argentina. So I got big news for you now. We have now expanded even further. We are
Nice. Give it to me.
a wider reach.
I'm ready.
We have now busted into Canada.
Whoa.
We now have listeners in Canada. And if you want to know specifically, it's Ontario, Canada.
Hey.
And that's great, dude. They got their Moosehead beer and their snow, I guess. Whatever.
That's all right, man.
But that's not the only place we're heard now. Guess who's listening to us right now? Vladimir Putin is listening to us in Russia.
No way.
He is
In Russia?
Yes, in Russia. We have listeners in Russia. We haven't been censored out or banned from
That's
Russia.
all right. It's because we were talking about the scorpions.
Yeah, they love the scorpions in Russia.
Right.
We're going to have to go host their next festival over there or something. Have on a giant airfield.
Nice. Oh, man, that's killer. Russian.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know if we said Argentina, but we're also there. I think we talked about that last episode. So we're worldwide. Obviously huge in Japan.
Always.
Huge. I gave Greg the rankings earlier. The top four. Number 4 is Anvil. Number 3 is KNAC. And then number 2 is Lady Gaga.
All right.
Number 1 is Big Talk with Chris and Greg.
There
Number
you
1.
go, man. Big in Japan.
Biggest in Japan. So that's now that we got all the business taken care of, kind of, catching everybody up on where we're at, how worldwide we are. Let's go ahead and start. Well, last episode was part 1 of our music censorship. We talked about a little bit about the PMRC, and then we kind of really just went into the Filthy 15, which were their 15 songs that they deemed totally inappropriate for the youth of America and Americans in general.
Correct.
So we didn't get to all of them. We had to actually cut it short. We had 4 more songs that we still have to talk about.
Got it.
I'll just go into the first one here, a band called Venom. And their song called Possessed from 1985. I listened to this song last week before we had our episode, and it was, I don't want to say I was offended, but I was like, yeah, that song could definitely make the list. It's pretty vulgar. I don't even really want to read the quotes of the song on air just in case there's children listening, but it's pretty anti-religion. Obviously they're on their album cover. If you've ever seen it, it's a pentagram with a goat. It's very satanic.
Satanic.
And,
So I take it.
and I didn't even, honestly, I and that's this is really the only song that I've heard of them. I really didn't even like the music. You know, sometimes you can get away with some stuff if the music is actually okay. I didn't really care for the music either.
All right, dude, no problem.
But man, it was.
But I take it was more banned for the occult, meaning
the occult.
You know, the language,
It was
the
under
lyrics.
Oh my God, what are they saying? Yes, occult. It was pretty bad. And even the singer says, his name's Chrono, said this wasn't even the most controversial song he ever wrote. So it got worse, but I'm good with just hearing that one.
All right.
It wasn't.
Did he say what his worst song was?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
They just threw that out there.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm good. I was
So
good with that.
Venom. Occult.
Possessed. 1985. Go
All right.
listen to it if you want to be scared shitless.
At 4 a.m, 3 a.m.
In the morning, yeah, when you're getting up, getting ready for work. All right, Greg, what do you got? You got another one here? You got, ones we haven't talked about, or do you just want me to?
Did we do Def Leppard, High and Dry?
We didn't. Let's talk about Def Leppard.
All right, Def Leppard, High and Dry, Saturday night.
Yeah, got my whiskey, got my wine.
Yeah.
They this would have been under their DA, drinking and alcohol. They were kind of amused about it. You know, they really didn't want to have anything to do. They didn't speak out much. They just said they didn't want to have to do with anything with people with closed minds. And I don't think the song is. I don't think it's rock and roll music. Is all about having a good time.
Correct.
And you have grown ass adults talking about having some drinks and having a good time. Okay.
So this came out when the new wave of British heavy metal was coming out. So when they Def Leppard, second album, having a good time, talking about drinking, getting high, getting drunk on a Saturday night. That's most people associate Saturday with, other than parties, barbecue, and hanging out, having a good time, that type of stuff.
I read. So I kind of was looking at two angles. I'm kind of reading what my interpretation of this is. So the lyrics here that I'm going to quote, it's, I got my whiskey, got my wine, I got my woman, and this time the lights are going out. So the PMRC is saying, oh, that means that he's going to get blackout drunk. It's about drinking too much. My interpretation is he's got his whiskey, he's got his wine, he's out having a good time, he's got his girlfriend. Turn off the lights. Let's have a good time together.
Correct.
That's my interpretation of it.
Right.
That's normal everyday life for a lot of people.
Yeah. There's nothing harm in that.
No.
Having a good time, having some beers.
And like like a lot of these artists have said when they talk about how when the PMRC, Tipper Gore obviously was their head figure. They all said anything that has to do with that. It like the sadomasochism in. Dee Snider's song, the Under the Blade that we had talked about.
Yeah.
It's all in her mind because that's not even what the song was about. So in this one, that's not even what the song's about, getting blackout drunk. It's about having a good time. And so anything that, that's only in her mind. So that says more about her than anything else, which we'll talk about a little bit later. A couple other artists also
But
said
correct. That. But this song for drugs and alcohol, I guess they're just trying to say, people are drinking whiskey and beers and having a good time.
God forbid.
God forbid it. Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
But yeah, I know. But what people said. What's next on the list, Chris?
Let's talk about Priest. Talk about Judas Priest is number one. Go ahead.
Yeah.
The song is "Eat Me Alive," 1984.
From Defenders of the Faith.
Defenders of the Faith. Go ahead. Let's talk about it.
So this was after Screaming for Vengeance. So. Follow album from that in 84, and I guess the lyrics were upset about Eat Me Alive. I mean, what's more about that? I don't think it had anything to do with you have any of the lyrics
I do right here on my copy and paste that I talked about last week. I'm just not a fast typer, dude.
Okay.
I'm no Pam Beasley. I'm more like a Jim. Eat Me Alive, the lyrics, where the lyrics talk about a rod of steel and groan in the pleasure zone, and Tipper Gore said the song advocated oral sex at gunpoint.
Whoa.
That was her. I've heard the song. It never even ever popped into my mind.
Except when Tipper Gore decided to throw her 2 cents in it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know. I mean, they then they also came out with that song a couple years later where they kind of were like, the PMRC was still doing their thing, and they also came out with that song "Parental Guidance," where they're saying we don't need no parental guidance here.
Correct.
Which is a really good song. I like that song. It's a good
Correct.
song.
So in 1986, they came out with the next album was called Turbo, and they actually had 2 songs on there that the PMRC probably didn't like. Well, Parental Guidance. The other one was Private Property. That they said that was more of a fuck you to the PMRC, type of BS.
Heavy metal parking lot.
Heavy metal parking lot. If you don't know, me and Chris's favorite documentary, man.
Yeah, it's great. We're gonna talk about that
soon.
Very, very soon. Eat Me Alive. I never. Yes, it has some, talking about some innuendos, which are the greatest thing. No, not coming out explicitly and saying do this, do that, or I'm gonna do this or that, and so. Being a kid, 1984, I don't think I'd heard that song in 84. I was 8 years old. I don't think I was listening to Priest at that time. But even if I would have heard it, I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't have.
Right?
Like we said in the last episode, I wasn't dissecting and analyzing the lyrics. Sometimes I wasn't even listening to them. If I had been listening to Judas Priest at that time, I'd have been like, dude, this shit's badass. Listen to the music. Listen to his voices. Rob Halford's voice is just amazing. That kind of what hooked me wasn't the lyrics. It wasn't the content. When I was younger, it was the music.
It was the music and groove, and listen to K.K. Downey's solo or Glenn Tipton's riffs or something like that. Yeah, dude, that was more of us. Back in the day.
I know a girl that really likes Glenn Tipton. Well, she's in Heavy Metal Parking Lot. We'll talk about that later, dude. Yeah. Enough of that. Let's go to the next song. Are you done talking about the Priest?
Yes.
We could go on forever about the Priest. The last song that's on the Filthy 15, Into the Coven by Merciful Fate.
Whoa.
1983. O for Occult. We've talked about their lead singer before, King Diamond, who
correct,
amazing vocals. So this was the reason they deemed it inappropriate because it was fostering an unhealthy interest in the occult and the lines "come into my coven and become Lucifer's child." But here's the thing: is Tipper Gore said, "Oh, that's not about your glorifying the occult and all this." And years later. King Diamond had said that it was just a musical horror story. Correct. They were just telling a story through music, which a lot of these guys do. A lot of them have concept albums or songs that just tell this story, and that's the way a story is. It's a musical version of something you might even see in TV or in the movie theater. And he also went on to say that Tipper must have been really bored, and he didn't have time for this, and the way they saw those songs said more about them than it did about their band.
I have a quote from King Diamond saying, "Thank you to Tipper Gore for promoting his album. The sticker never served as a warning. It was more of a stamp of approval." Right?
Think about, millions of
Correct.
albums were sold that never would have sold without that sticker on them.
Correct.
A lot of them, I don't think necessarily were putting out a clean version and a dirty version. I think the majority of them were just, okay, put the sticker on it, whatever. And, man, that you saw that badge of approval on your album.
Artwork,
It was off to the races, and you knew you were selling millions and millions of copies.
So, but in some places, like we talked about, where, all right, so they're not selling it at, at the time, Kmart or Walmart, but either you got it underground or you ordered it on Columbia, records and tapes, or if somebody had it, you dubbed it because you wanted to check it out by then. So you're right. It didn't serve as a negative mark, or it served like, hey man,
maybe
people want this, man.
Maybe it's more of a regional thing, but I never went and did my record shopping at Walmart or Kmart. That's never where I went to buy records or tapes or CDs or anything like that. I didn't always go to like your little mom pop shop. You go to the Warehouse Records, Sam Goody, places like that that specifically sold music. The store I think that I had brought up last time we were talking about albums is called Jafco. It was like a like a Walmart, smaller kind of a thing where they sold pretty much everything. The only reason is because you went there to get whatever you needed. The family would go there, and I'd be like, "I'll see you later, Mom and Dad," and I'd be back in the albums flipping through. I mean, that's before I had any money. I didn't even ask for them to buy me any Ozzy Osbourne. They weren't gonna buy it.
Are you sure?
Did I tell you the story about how my mom took my dub copy of "Shout at the Devil" away? So we were going to.
No.
I'll tell you, dude. Quick story. So this is censorship, I guess. I was listening to "Shout at the Devil." Anybody's heard that album before? The amazing album by Motley Crue has "Bastard" on it.
Yes.
It's on the Filthy 15. There's a little audio or oral dictation, whatever it is at the beginning. In the beginning, and he talks about all man's sins and the children of the beast and stuff like that. And my mom, I was listening to it. Remember those rectangle tape recorders with the pull-out handle you'd listen to with the little speaker?
Oh, yeah.
I had it on that, and I was listening to the back seat, and she was like, "Oh my God, what are you listening to?" I told her, and she took it away.
Did she give it back?
No, I never got it back.
That's why you bought it on vinyl
That's
years
why
later,
I
right?
need that, and that's that made me want it even more. And yeah, so that really kind of really inflated my want for heavy metal music. Was it's pissing my parents off. All right. I mean, even though I was a good kid, never bad. I was wanted that heavy metal music.
Are you sure? I've talked to your parents, man. They told me some crazy stories about you.
And they're just trying to keep it interesting. So that's my mom. But hey, my mom didn't want me listening to it. That's what a good parent does.
That is correct, man.
So I give my mom props. Good job, Mom.
Because you can understand it now as a parent yourself.
Yeah. She may not even remember it, or she might remember it, but she probably remembers it differently. But so that basically wraps up the Filthy 15. Is there anything else you want to touch on with any of those songs? I think we pretty much talked about them all. And in the last episode, we covered the first part of them. So I think that, we're pretty good on those.
Yes.
And those were the ones that kind of led the charge and that they used to kind of push their agenda to decide what was appropriate for Americans to listen to. And anything that had lyrics that they didn't like, they deemed inappropriate. We're going to get that sticker slapped on them. They were, and it wasn't just they were trying to do like a federal thing, but there were also courts all over the nation, smaller city, counties, states that were trying to push things through. And the one that probably got the most news, I guess, news about it was the one with Two Live Crew in Florida.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And anybody that hasn't ever listened to Two Live Crew, their music is very sexual. They're a hip hop group, rap.
This is back in the 80s or 90s?
This is the tail end of the 80s.
Okay.
Tail end. 89, 90. And basically what happened here is that they had a album called Nasty As They Wanna Be, and overtly sexual. It had the song Me So Horny, stuff like that just came out and just said it. So a lot of courts, or a lot of cities and counties, a lot of them in the South, Florida, Alabama, places like that, wanted these records to not be sold at all.
Okay.
So they were arresting record store owners. They were arresting people for selling these albums, trying to shut them down, trying to close them down. And then they went on, took it even a step further to where, hey, if you're going to perform these songs, then you're going to be arrested for obscene behavior in public or something of that nature.
All right, something you said, I'm just going to touch on. You said they were arresting people who sold it. Now, we were talking about how you went and you bought, I think it was DJ Quick.
DJ Quick.
You bought DJ Quick, and then my wife Vanessa said she was, at the time, Snoop Dogg's album came out. Now, they sold to, we'll take it, underage kids. So they were arresting people like that for selling music to underage people. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in Florida or other states,
they didn't. I think they didn't even want him to sell it at all. It be sold at all.
Oh.
I think may have been the.
So they were trying to put pressure on the record companies for don't put it out there. But wouldn't that push it for more bootleg or banning, or hey, we're going to sell our tape from the back seat of a car or the trunk of a car. Like, hey, we're going to go buy somebody's some high school.
What it was here is here I got I pulled up an old article. It's on the Washington Post. It's kind of a recap of what happened in 1990 is when it was an anti-obscenity activist named Jack Thompson sent letters, to all around the place, including to Janet Reno, who was a state attorney in Florida. She was later U.S. Attorney General under Bill Clinton. What they do is they were investigating Two Live Crew as to whether or not they were breaking obscenity statutes, and about what they were saying or what they were performing publicly and stuff like that. So I guess they had right here it says they had probable cause to believe the album was a scene, and they sent letters to every governor and to lyrics to every governor and sheriff's department and in Florida, Alabama, Indiana, Pennsylvania, all these states here that they're listing. And that's kind of how it all started. And they actually did get arrested, and they went to, I believe, federal court. And of course, the jury took 2 hours to deliberate and said not guilty. First Amendment. And it's kind of funny. I was perusing through it, and the jurors all said, we saw it as like comedy.
Yeah.
Like we've seen this album as like comedy, this whole thing. And, you can say what you want. Do you have to pay consequences? Yes, you do. But you don't have to pay these legal jail time for saying me so horny. And sometimes it's almost like, Footloose, the long arm of the law, or the
right?
or Reverend, just taking it too far.
Yeah.
Sometimes. And I think this is one of and another good thing that came out of this was, I don't know if people remember back in the day on MTV, they had the Rock the Vote. That
Correct.
Was founded out of this. The
Two
Live Crew incident. The founder said that the arrest was a wake up call and something that he used to catalyze the music industry to kind of wake up and be like, hey, these guys are really trying to come after us.
Okay.
And it morphed and it kind of, has become what it's become. But Madonna was doing PSAs with them, and, it was all about getting the word out there and getting the younger generation to vote. Hey, you guys need to vote, or look what these guys are trying to do for music.
You have a say.
You have a say.
You have a say, and if you don't like it, then start saying it. Okay, I can see that coming from that, which is, totally what I told my son and my daughter when they turn 18 is like, if you got something to say and, you don't like things, vote. I mean, you can vote, yes, no, or vote for this person or that person, that type of stuff. But don't let somebody take away your vote. You have the right to say it.
It also says here that when they were acquitted, the state attorney in Florida decided to not pursue against the club owner where the club that they played that they got arrested. So they didn't even end up going after him anyway, because I think they kind of figured that it was a lost cause at that point. But man, I remember that being all over
MTV and stuff. Yeah.
The news. Kurt Loder was talking about it every day. MTV News, and you heard about it. I didn't follow it, but when you heard about it, you kind of paid attention. But that's them trying to, that's censorship. Them trying to control what people can listen to and what people can perform. And if it's at a club that's 21 and over, these are all adults that know what they're paying to go see. You know what I mean? It's not like somebody accidentally
is in the park.
This is a band, a group that was popular.
Yeah.
They're not letting people in for free. You're paying to get in. You know what you're paying to get in. You're not going to accidentally walk in and go, oh, I'm $20 for what? I'll just go in for a beer. No, you know what you're there for. You know what's going on. So it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. But, yeah, Two Live Crew, man. What are you going to do?
Back in the day.
So let's kind of segue into another little topic that we want to talk about with censorship when it comes to the music industry. And I think the natural next place to go would be talking about album covers.
All right.
And there are so many album covers that we could talk about. There's so many artists we can talk about. We could go on and on and on and on and on for days. We're going to talk about, I would think, mostly album covers that are most likely popular. Album covers you guys may not know got censored. Album covers that maybe have alternate covers and stuff like that. We've already touched on a few that I don't think we really need to go over again. We've talked about Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction. We talked about that a couple times. And then we briefly spoke of the Poison album, Open Up and Say Ah,
Correct.
with the devil tiger woman with the big long tongue. So, we won't talk about that one anymore.
Yeah.
But
So the original cover had the face, and then the censored version just had her eyes.
yeah, just her eyes.
Blacked out.
And another one we also talked about, it was Bon Jovi's Slippery When Wet. So that one, I think, we've already talked about those. Those are all right in our wheelhouse. But there's a lot of other ones, off of albums here that are big time albums that some people may not even know there was a censored version. You got one right here you want to talk about?
You know what? The first one I want to talk about it, and I'm surprised it was. The album cover wasn't. It's about Nirvana. The album cover, the name of the album is called In Euro. The album cover was not banned. It was one of the songs that was on the album that was banned.
Okay.
It was called Rape Me. A lot of them.
And that song got played on the radio.
Correct. It was banned probably from like Target or Walmart or something like that. And then they just had the record company change the name of the title to Waif Me, WAIF Me, instead of Rape Me. They go, we're going to carry it. We're just going to change that title.
But was the song on the album was the same?
Yeah, the song on the album was the same. It was
they changed the name of
they
it.
changed the name on the back of the cover where they have the. I thought, what the heck, like that. They could have put a line, or they could have put an asterisk or something over it to, not say the word rape, but for some reason
Could
they
have put a sticker.
there you go. They could have put a sticker or something like that, but that was one of them on there. You want to start off with another one?
I got one here I want to talk about that I absolutely do understand why they censored this one, and this is going to be Jimi Hendrix.
Oh yeah,
The Jimi Hendrix experience, Electric Ladyland, the album. The album is basically a bunch of topless women. They're bottomless too, but you can't necessarily see their bottomlessness. You just see their toplessness.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, I'm looking at it right now, 20 to 25 naked women.
It's really
just
19,
in a
bro.
group.
Count. There's 19.
There's 19.
In 1968, this album came out.
Yeah, 1968. All ethnicities, everything here, So that's great. That's great. And then the edited, so it's just topless women. So I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, but I also understand that was when like the whole hippie freedom kind of thing was about. So I understand why they would put that out like that. That's whole like the free love kind of thing. It goes with its times.
Correct.
But I also understand why it was like, yeah, we can't do that. And the other cover was just Jimi Hendrix's face and like this overexposed orange and red kind of glow that he had. And I can see it. I can see why they would censor that one. A lot of these have to do with like, I understand. I don't know. Me and my wife have had conversations about, like America. It seems to be that they don't care about the violence. Violence is fine. We can show all the violence, but when it comes to something sexual or sexuality or the naked body or something, it's like, oh my God, that's horrible. You can't talk about
Correct.
that. It's like, it almost should be the other way. Like, bodies are beautiful. Look at us, sexuality, but it's just, violence is kind of just put out there in everything. And the sexuality of stuff is kind of shunned.
Just to go on your rant about the nudity and art and the body, I think television itself has changed a little bit, where they will show a little more nudity or a little more skin after 10 o'clock. And I think that was the time frame for them.
Oh yeah, no kid is ever awake after 10 and has a TV in their room ever. I think that's a law.
I don't think
if you're under 18, you have no TV and you're asleep by 10.
I don't think that's it, but I mean, yes.
I know what you're saying.
But I mean, it was a little different. I remember the change of like watching TV and then
that's when most kids are watching TV, right?
Well,
they're not watching it during the day. They're at school, so why not show all that stuff from like 9 to 3? Kids are at school,
right?
They're not at home.
I think it was, whatever television decided to do that, but it is a little bit on that time frame. I noticed it on television. I would say like 10, 15 years ago, they started to do that kind of stuff. But you're right. I think it was other countries they have nudity on there, and it's whatever. They kind of have a breasts from a woman hanging out, and nobody, whatever. And then you do that in America, and oh my God, look at that, look at the page, look at this person, and it's frowned upon. All right, next album I do want to talk about, which does have nudity on it too, Jane's Addiction, Nothing Shocking.
Okay.
Which is, two females joined together on fire, band cover. Jane's Addiction was not known, and that's not their only album that was ever banned.
Mm-hmm.
I think their album after that was banned too.
Ritual de Habitual.
Correct. And then that's funny because that album cover, they had looked like puppet or kind of clay with a woman, nudity.
That's the one I think that Perry Farrell, I was reading about that cover, he drew that artwork. I think that was his artwork for that cover.
Correct. So it was released, and then all of a sudden they changed it from that to a white cover.
Yeah. So Gregg, not to step on your toes, but yes, you are correct with everything you said. And that white cover that they used, Perry Farrell said, "Oh, I'm gonna also print the First Amendment on there." So it had the First Amendment on it. It said Jane's Addiction, the Ritual de Habitual on the cover, and then it had the First Amendment. So you knew why it was on there, and he just was like, "This is what it's coming to, really."
Yeah.
Sometimes it's. I mean, I don't know. We could sit here and argue all day long,
but that's the thing. They come out with one artwork, and then hey, you got to change it for something else.
Who's the one that says it's
somebody complained?
Someone with enough power to do something about it, I guess.
Correct.
Let's move on. Next album I want to talk about is, where'd it go? Oh yes, this one. And many of our listeners aren't gonna know this album. They know the band Scorpions. The album is Virgin Killer.
Oh wow!
From 1976. So the original version of this album has a young girl on it.
Correct.
I would like to think she is at least 18, but she looks young.
Yes.
Maybe 16 or so. And where her private part is, it looks like if you get like a shattered windshield, like a rock hits it and it kind of spider webs a little bit. That's what it looks like is covering that, and that got banned. A lot of these, and you know what, I'm kind of hitting the ones that are like, I get it, I see why. I'm not doing that on purpose, but so far but I see why this cover was deemed inappropriate. I get it.
Yes,
I get it. And then the other cover was the one that replaced it was the band. It's just them.
It's just them.
And they're it's kind of like them in regular street clothes. But when I kind of look at it, this is the way I'm interpreting this. And to me, I think it's kind of funny. And I bet they probably did this on purpose. So you see the cover, the first one that I'm telling you about was banned.
Yes.
And if let's just say that she was 18, for argument's sake, it'll make myself feel a lot better with what I'm going to say.
Okay.
And if a group of 5 guys were walking by and saw that, what would their reaction be like? They'd be like, "Oh, yeah." That's what they're doing in the picture of them.
Okay.
So it almost is like the band one is the girl, but what did the guys looking at it, what were they doing? So it almost looks like it's one kind of event happening at the one time kind of thing. So
got it.
I bet they probably did that on purpose. It's kind of funny looking, dude. They're all in their 70s.
This came out in 1976. Mm-hmm. And there was a quote too saying, reflecting the times as the killer of innocence. That's why they named it Virgin Killer.
Yeah.
I mean, was that album banned anywhere else but America, or is this that America that one that was changed?
It doesn't say here.
Now, I don't think in Germany they would have banned it, but you never know.
They actually, here it says that they blacklisted it from Wikipedia, featuring the cover on any of their articles, but then they lifted that because it was so readily available everywhere on the internet. So, if you're going to go get something, they're like, well, you might as well just come to Wikipedia, get more traffic, I guess. I mean, whatever.
And that wasn't even their best album. Can you name a song from the album?
No.
Same either.
But if I click a couple times here, I probably can.
Yeah, no clicking.
No clicking.
Go
ahead. What's the next one you want to talk about?
You know what, dude? One which I think is funny, and as art, I like it. I like the way they took care of this. This is from a band called Tool. Mm-hmm. The name of the album is Undertow, where it's a thin man and a large woman. It was banned, and then what they talked about it, the singer Maynard talked about it was, yes, it was banned. I think it was Target and Walmart. And then he didn't like it that his art was being banned, or the band's art was being banned. So he wrote in the sleeve of the album that was a band cover, he put, if you want the original cover of this, album, CD, whatever, he says, send us an email with your name, address, phone number, or name and address, blah, blah, blah. We'll send you free the original album cover. Which,
nice.
You think about it and you're like, wow, these guys, now they're losing money or whatever. You never know. I mean, now they're doing their dime to, hey, man, thank you for buying the album, one, but this is not what we said. We want this picture to reflect us. Mm-hmm. And, and we want you to have it so much, we will be sending it to you if you like. So if you got say it's just I think it was a rib, or the skeleton ribs. Mm-hmm. They changed that and send it to somewhere else. And actually, you know what? It's just, I appreciate these guys doing the extra effort to making sure that someone gets the original artwork that they wanted out there. To me, that's thumbs up, and more power to them.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna switch gears. I'm gonna go to a totally different genre of music here. Let's talk about Ice-T.
Oh, okay.
So he had an album called Home Invasion, came out in 1993, and he was on the Sire Records label, which was owned by Time Warner, and they refused to release it with the album cover. And what the album cover is what it looks like. I don't know how many people here are listening or familiar with the cover. What it was, in the center of the album cover, it has a white, I don't know, teenage boy. Has his headphones on, so there's all these images around him of like black guys breaking into a house, attacking what looks like white people, and for what there's a half naked lady here, and there's a guy beating up another guy here, and they said, we are not going to release that album with that artwork. And as a result of that, Ice-T, love him, said, okay, we're not putting the album out, and he left the label. He said, no more music for you guys. He left the label. So I like it when artists stand up. And I mean, I guess you can change the cover if you want to sell albums, man. He just said, I'm not going to compromise. I'm going to leave. So
wow.
Man, he left the label because of it.
Yeah. Still staying on the rap album covers. I got one, Ice Cube, in 1991, Death Certificate, where it looked like it was a dead body of Uncle Sam laying, and that album was banned thoroughly in the state of Oregon. You could not find that album in Oregon. It was a banned album cover in the state of Oregon. Now, it could have been other states or other record chains not taking it, but the state of Oregon said, no way, no how, we are not letting this album in our state.
Yeah, I remember that album cover. It was like he was at the mortuary.
Correct.
And it had the dead body with the blanket over it, and had the toe tag that said Uncle Sam. Yeah, I remember that album cover when it came out.
Just thinking it, I didn't think that album cover was anything to be banned, or I
was like, cool cover.
We've seen worse on album covers, and all of a sudden, a tag on it is offensive, or Uncle Sam being offensive. Okay.
One of the first and most well-known, to anybody that pays attention, album covers that was banned, one of the first ones that at least that I know about, was the Beatles Yesterday and Today.
Oh, yeah.
So what that was it was a picture of, at this point they were still the clean-cut boys, they were the, British finest, all the girls were in love with them and all that kind of stuff. So basically what it was is it's a picture of them, and they're wearing like white medical coats, and then they have these dolls, like, not like Barbie size, bigger ones that are like babies with their heads pulled off and all this stuff. And, they have meat like laying in their lap and stuff like this. And the record label's like, we ain't releasing that. And too controversial. So basically there's last minute replaced it with a stock photo of them, like a luggage suitcase with Paul McCartney sitting in it, and the other guy's just kind of standing around. It's really kind of it's a terrible album cover. The first one was great, and I didn't, if someone tried to release something like that nowadays, it would be like, whatever. But I guess back in, what is it, 65, 67, it wasn't allowed. 1966.
In 1960, you said 1966?
66.
Wow. I got 1968. No, maybe a little after that. John Lennon and Yoko Ono did
You have bad. Oh, okay. Go ahead. I was gonna say you have bad penmanship, but you're talking about a new album.
Yes.
Okay.
In 1968, John Lennon and Yoko Ono did an album cover called Two Virgins.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes, familiar.
They took, nude photographs of themselves, and the record company wanted a plain brown wrapper to cover the album, and then they had, put John Lennon on it, Yoko Ono, and 5,000 copies were originally pressed in the UK, and that was only released with that album cover. But that album cover got banned too.
So there are only 5,000?
Only 5,000 original.
Oh, then they have a censored version?
Probably. Different, whatever it is. Maybe it's him or, I think they were laying in bed or, anyways, those two were.
Me, I'm a nerd. I'm going to find it.
Those two were very erotic and, didn't care what you saw.
Okay. I see it here. I see the cover, and then I see a CD with probably what they did with the album. They have the brown wrapper.
Yeah, brown wrapper on it, man.
Killer. Totally killer.
Still staying on that classic rock and roll, a band called Blind Faith in 1969 had a self-titled record, Blind Faith, which did have a lady with a car hood ornament on it, and it was referred to as looked like a dildo she was holding, but it really was a car ornament, and in the U.S. had a problem with that cover, and it was banned, but they had changed it to stock photo of the band, after, and so instead of having the girl with the hood ornament changed to the band on the front cover. And I do remember that cover too. It didn't really look like a dildo, but in the shape of,
it's whatever someone sees it. If you're like
correct.
It's all about your perception, what you see, what you want it to be, what you want it to say, what you want it to look like. I want it to be offensive.
Yeah.
Sometimes things are just art, just to be art.
Yeah.
Why not just let it be art? I mean, let everybody decide for themselves and decide for our kids and so on and so forth. But some of these I do. Like I had said before, I understand exactly where they're coming from. I understand exactly what they're saying. I get it. Like I even said in our last episode, I kind of even understand what they were trying to do. I get it at a level. I kind of understand, what they were doing. I think they took it too far, and I think that, it was outlandish, the things they were saying. But I get it. But they took it a little too far.
You get it, Chris?
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. So we can talk about, let's talk about, I don't know. I don't think that one ever got banned. Did the Nirvana one with the little baby, did they ever make a censored version of that one with no penis?
I want to say no, but I know it was,
Oh, okay. So they stickered over it.
Yeah.
They stickered over it. And, the sticker that was over it said, if you're offended by this, you must be a closet pedophile.
Correct.
That's a little tongue in cheek humor kind of a thing, like, hey, dude, it's a baby.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know.
And I heard the record company wanted to airbrush over it too.
Yeah,
and Kurt was adamant about having the original picture, be shown, and he stuck to his guns. And I isn't recently that the guy who took the picture as a baby or the baby grew up now 40 years later and is upset that
is that 40 years ago?
I want to say.
Maybe 30. What was that?
1990?
1990.
Maybe 30. Okay.
Yeah, you're right. He came out and said he has suffered.
Okay, 91. Yeah, 30.
He has suffered like mentally distraught and anguish, and from people teasing him and all this stuff about him being the baby with the little penis on the cover.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, you have the tattoo on your arm of the album,
right?
Well, what are you talking about, dude?
Yeah.
No, you're out there displaying it, proud of it. No.
That's what I thought too.
I don't even think they heard it. I think he did file and they're like, no, or he decided not to, but I don't know.
Okay, but who's he suing? The Nirvana camp, which is disbanded.
I don't.
I know. I mean, is Frances Bean Kurt's daughter? Is that who he's suing?
I don't know.
I mean,
Was it Courtney Love and all of that stuff or something like that?
I don't know. I thought Dave Grohl.
I don't know.
Fought for it. Anyways, but still, 30 years later on, I'm gonna sue you because you took a picture when I was a baby.
Yeah.
Okay, where are your parents? Did your parents,
Yeah, let's go
sign you up to be?
Exactly.
You should be mad at your parents for letting it happen.
There's so many. Dude, there's so many covers, so many that have been, banned or censored. Dude, I'm looking through this list and I see repeat offenders all over the place. Like, I see Jimi Hendrix on here a couple times. I see Marilyn Manson on here.
Yeah.
Slayer. I see the Scorpions on here. I see White Zombie and Rob Zombie on here 2 or 3 times. It's a lot of. I see Lady Gaga on here twice. Doing my research, sometimes you stumble upon pages that just have a plethora of information. You're just like, oh, I got to save that because I'm going to be able to use it. So, yeah, I got a page here that pretty much has every band cover, and it gives a description and a link to it and all that kind of stuff. So, yay for me. I don't have to write any of this stuff down.
Talking about that, the Rolling Stones in 1968 had Beggar's Banquet, which was a sleazy-looking bathroom with graffiti on it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So, okay, you took a picture of a dirty bathroom, right? And we've gone into clubs many times, Chris. We've gone to many shows. There's graffiti. There's, stuff you don't sit on, don't touch. But somebody took a picture of it. They said, hey, this is going to be our album cover. And you ban it?
Yeah, dude.
Whoa. That was something like, come on.
Beggar's Banquet, 1968. Yeah, dude. I got it right here. The cover isn't even that bad because you're actually describing it worse than the picture. It's a picture basically of the toilet with the lid up, but you're only getting a picture of halfway up the lid. So you're not even seeing the toilet bowl. You're seeing a little bit of the wall.
Yeah.
It's a smaller picture, so I can't read any of the graffiti. Like call Gregg for a good time is probably on there for a big time.
Oh, yeah.
There
for some big talking.
And this one I don't get.
Yeah.
At all. I don't see anything offensive at all.
Same thing for the Rolling Stones too. The other album, which in 1971 they did Sticky Fingers.
Oh yeah.
With
that cover.
the original had a working zipper,
Yeah.
on the vinyl. Now people are like, well, it's offensive, and it's like, really, a working zipper? It's art. It's Andy Warhol.
Yeah, I was reading about that, and I guess apparently they stopped making it with the zipper because it was damaging the vinyl during shipping. Because
okay, stop.
Don't damage the vinyl, man. Don't ruin my listening experience. I ain't gonna buy it. But man, I've never even seen one of those with the zipper working. I've never even seen one with my own eyeballs. Have you seen one?
Yes.
Really? Where at?
Yes, I was a kid. My babysitter loved Stones and Bowie and stuff like that, and I remember in her vinyl collection was the Rolling Stones with the zipper, and I was kind of at the time I didn't know who the Stones were. I didn't care. I was a kid, 10 years old. I was still into Kiss, and there was a working zipper. Went up, went down. And it was like, oh, okay, and that was kind of it.
I bet I know where we can find one.
What, Amoeba? Not online?
No, I don't. Well, who cares if you see a picture of it online? I want to see the real thing. I want to say, let me see that, and look at it and touch the zipper.
Yeah.
Touch it. Yeah, like I had said, dude, there's so many on here. Gregg, you got some highlights you want to talk about? I know you got some you want to talk about here.
Well, one that was crazy when it came out in 1983 was Dio's Holy Diver. Because they had a mascot of a demonic character holding a chain and, drowning a priest in it. That was, at the time, pretty crazy. Dio just came off his Black Sabbath days. So, it was wild and crazy and thrilling to see that kind of stuff. So the cover album was, one of those that's eye-catcher. And, you wanted to think of it like an Iron Maiden, where there's the mascot. What is he gonna do? Oh my God, what's the next album gonna look like if this is the first one? And blah blah blah. So Last in Line came out. Still have the the Murray character there. So on and so on. But at the time, that was one of the highlights of being pretty wild and crazy and stuff.
You know, I didn't know his name until I did research on it.
Oh, no
But
way.
I'm glad you said his name, Murray. So I thought that was totally killer, dude. Murray.
I got one for you, dude. This is pretty funny. The name of the band is called Bow Wow Wow, right? Bow Wow. Anyways, the name of the album is
Bow Wow Wow.
Okay, Bow Wow Wow. And the name of the album is Sea Jungle, Go Join Our Gang, Yay City All Over, Go Ape Crazy, from 1981.
I know, dude. The name of that album
That was the name of the album, right? But it also featured the singer Annabelle Lynn, who was 14 at the time, and it looked like she was nude. Now, she's not showing, exposing anything. It's just kind of like her crunched up, covering herself, her breast, covering her legs up so there's no
it's like a shot from like her
exposed.
side back.
Correct.
So it's not even a frontal. It's like a side back, her sitting kind of a pose with her arm up, covering her breast.
But years later on, her mother got slack because she let her daughter at 14 be in that album cover like that, which I thought was, it was band album cover, but it was like, wow, really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah. If you guys don't know Bow Wow Wow, they had that song, I Want Candy. I want candy.
Yeah.
That was it right there. You always get singing from us every episode.
Off key.
Get used to it.
How about you, man? Any other
here's one, what? Yeah, I got one right here that I don't understand. I really don't. And we when we were kind of going over, what we want to talk about, this is one that I wasn't going to talk about, but I'm going to now because I don't get it. Amorica by the Black Crowes. I don't get it.
Oh, okay.
So what it is, it's a woman wearing a string bikini.
Yes.
And the front part is American flag.
Yes.
There's some pubes out the front. That's the only thing I find offensive about it is the amount of pubes sticking out the top. The rest of it, I don't get it. Tell me you've never seen a woman wearing an American flag bikini. Have you ever seen that before?
Yes.
Okay, so what's offensive about this picture? I don't find anything offensive about it.
I don't think anything else.
And
but
so the censored version is they cut everything out but the bikini. So the bikini's still there. So obviously that's not the offensive part.
Correct.
And the rest of it's black and it says Amorica.
But I thought it was white. Is it black?
It's all
it
black.
is black.
It's all black.
And her skin is gone.
Everything's gone except for the bikini bottom, just the triangle. The triangle of the bikini.
Yeah.
I don't get. This is one of those ones that I don't get it. I don't get it. What? Okay. I mean, move on, I guess. People looking for, that's probably, people that may have been in a time where everything was ultra patriotic and like you can't, you remember back in the day when everybody for some reason started burning flags and then there was this whole do you remember that time?
Yeah.
I think it was probably around that time and people were like, you can't burn the flag. You can't desecrate the flag. Freedom of speech. I can do whatever I want. And then everything started being like American flags. What can we do different with the flag? I'm wondering if this was during that time. People were just offended because that's the American flag. You can't do that.
I don't know if you're aware, but that cover from Black Crowes was on Playboy also. A cover of Playboy.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Surprise.
What was first?
The album Playboy and the album
The
cover.
album was first? Huh.
No, the Playboy was first.
Oh, the Playboy was first. So that was taken from the cover.
Correct.
They said, can we use that for an album cover?
I'm sure. I mean,
is that your assumption?
Yes. Okay. That's my assumption.
I think that's a good assumption to make. I get, what, I'm actually reading here. It doesn't say this is the reason why, but what it says is the album covers depiction of pubic hair. Oh, taken from an issue of Hustler magazine.
Oh, sorry.
That's what caused
Hustler.
controversy.
Sorry.
The imagery was replaced with a black background, which blacked out the hair. So it was the hair. So not the hair, pubic hair.
So Hustler was first.
That's a little over the top. Like I said, dude, Sony brought up earlier, I want to talk about this one, Diamond Dogs by David Bowie.
Yes.
It was one of those good album covers that there's nothing offensive on the front. It's that gatefold style where when it opens up and you see the whole thing from on the outside, not the inside. It shows him, he's like half man, half dog, but his dog half, the lower half, shows the dog's wiener. And that was offensive. And so, we got to censor it out. So then they like airbrushed it out. But I'm not a big David Bowie fan, but I know a lot of people are, and probably a lot of our listeners are really into David Bowie, and they probably already knew that, but just want to throw that one out there.
All right, man.
Diamond Dogs.
Any other album covers that I want to talk about an album cover and a band who I think we talked about last episode, Steel Panther.
Mm-hmm.
How their album cover Balls Out, which is their second major release, that it was okay here in America, right? It's got a sticker, banned, and not banned in America, but in the UK, they had promotional posters, stickers, and it was the UK described it as advertising standards. The authority ruled it because it was too overly sexual.
Mm-hmm.
So in the UK, they banned that album cover in their advertisement and in their records.
Yeah, a lot of these, as I look through them, it's not necessarily that they were banned in America or North America. You see a lot of, things were religious. So
Mm-hmm.
you get Middle East and the Far East, in Asia and areas like that where people are offended by crosses tattooed or whatever. They feel things are inappropriate. So a lot of these, it's just the religious thing or the areas. Some demographics just don't like it. So not necessarily like Justin Bieber had one that was banned in the Middle East and North Africa and Indonesia.
Get out of town.
Topless with his cross tattoo. I guess he's got a cross tattoo. Let me click on the album right here. Boom. It's him without his shirt on, all Biebered out, and I don't. It looks like a normal annoying person's album cover. Justin Bieber's great, dude.
Whatever.
No, yeah.
Whatever you say, dude. I'm gonna go with you on that one.
We could go on forever because there's 100
We
plus.
could, yeah.
And we're just gonna have to cut it.
Yeah.
I wish we could go on forever and ever and ever and ever, but we can't. Is there anything else you want to talk to add to this conversation about music censorship?
Yeah. You know what? Kids, parents, listening to, as an adult now, let's phrase that. If you need to edit your child or you need to take involvement in your life of listening, whether it's art, whether it's music, whether it's life, it starts with the parents. It starts with, you and me and everybody out there. So take the time to listen to and talk to your children about anything you feel that needs to be censored, whether it's television, whether it's, like I said, art, whether it's music. If you hear something or your kids are listening to something and, hey, it's they're 8 years old and they're talking me so horny, maybe you not want to, let them listen to it. But
me so horny.
yeah, you might want to maybe edit a little bit or, talk to them about it. And I think that's the correct thing to do. So, take the time and listen and get involved in your children's life, or if you have questions about it, take the time and get involved in your children's life. That kind of stuff.
I'll even take that. I agree with everything you just said. 100% agree. And I also think, talking to some of the parents and even some of the kids out there, just don't take everything at face value.
Correct.
Always ask why.
Yeah.
Why?
Question.
Why do you find that offensive? Or asking the artist, I wonder why they did that. What is that supposed to mean? What does it mean to you? This is what it means to me, because it's not going to mean the same thing to anybody else. A lot of times, people hear songs and you get different interpretations of it.
Correct.
And some of them might be to one person uplifting, another one it might be depressing, and another one, it might be happy, it might be sad. So just because you see it one way doesn't mean that your way is the right way. And
correct.
1,000 people listen to a song, or 1,000 people look at a cover, or 1,000 people look at a piece of art, or 1,000 people look at a statue, whatever, you're going to get 1,000 different interpretations. So please be open-minded. And
there you go.
Don't exclude anybody from the conversation, because you might learn something about yourself and about art and about music, and miss out on something great in this world.
There you go. All right, nation. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
Letting us do a second part on this topic. Just know we love you, and thank you for downloading. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming back. But we do need you write us an email, write us a text, a conversation. Let us know what we're doing is good, bad. If we missed anything, album covers that you
Get involved, nation. Get involved in the conversation.
There you go. Get involved in the conversation. So once again, this is Chris. This is Greg. See ya.